Thank you both for joining me today. Today I've got Shane and Elmer, uh, self-described escape room enthusiasts. From what I hear, there's some really great numbers of escape rooms that you guys have done, and I want to hear every single story. No, I'm just kidding.
All 768 of them?
Yeah. So, I love that you have that breadth of experience and that you guys have done so many. So I want to dig into that a little bit. Can you just, before we get started too much, can you each share a little bit about your background, just who you are, kind of what you do, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Shane, you want to go first?
No, ladies first. Thank you. So, I'm not sure what exactly you want to know, but yeah, my name is Shane. In terms of escape rooms, I have done 145. Majority of them have been with Elmer. And I now live in Las Vegas, but I lived in Los Angeles for 8 years. And that's where Elmer and I got really close. We've been friends for, I think, going on like 5 years now at this point. And
Right.
our go-to thing was game nights and escape rooms. And so one of the first things I did with Elmer was an escape room, and then I got hooked. But the thing with Elmer is he's done so many.
All locked up, I think.
It was all locked up, called the garage, exactly. But the thing with Elmer is if you're not available to do it in the exact moment and second he wants to do it, you are SOL. He's going to do it anyway. So it's the fact I've even had as many as I have with Elmer is honestly pretty shocking.
Because if you know anything about Shane, he's not impulsive and he does not do anything last minute. So the fact that I got him out of his shell to do that speaks volumes, I think.
I am a planner. It would, he would text me at 10 and be like, "Hey, let's go do an escape room in an hour." And I was like, "Today?" Like, what do you mean? I was like, you mean next week, right? Like, what do you mean today? Like right now? He's like, "Well, what are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I was about to go shower after doing nothing for 3 hours." But I mean, so it's definitely, but it's what really brought, I think, me and Elmer, close, where we have a lot of our fun memories, where we have a lot of our inside jokes, and also where a lot of our group kind of expanded in terms of friends.
That's awesome. Elmer, how about you?
So my name is Elmer. I am a self-proclaimed escape room enthusiast, I guess. I've done about 768 escape rooms. I'm a restaurant manager here in LA. I started out as an actor, but of course that, when you work as an actor in LA, you get a restaurant job probably. And I just kept getting promoted. And so that's where I landed. I love escape rooms, Shane's right. Anytime, and my one go-to thing to do is like, okay, let's find a new escape room to do. Okay, great. Let's see who we can get to go and go do them. And yeah, if you're not available, then sorry, next. We'll see who else is.
He definitely has. He definitely has like a VIP list though, so it makes you feel special when you're like one of the immediate go-tos. And also, Elmer, you're not an escape room enthusiast with as many as you've done. You're an escape room god at this point. Like, take the title.
At Sajak called me an escape room fiend.
Wow.
And you're disgusting. It's true.
With having done that many escape rooms, and this is really for both of you guys, how do you? LA is a big area. There are a lot of escape rooms relatively close in California, but do you, obviously to get 750, you probably have to travel around and hit them around
a little bit. Yes. Yeah. So I've, especially during, the pandemic, when there wasn't really anything happening, but flights were very cheap. Another escape room friend and I we would book random flights just to whatever town and be like, all right, let's go do as many escape rooms as we can in one day and then just fly back the same day. There's been several trips where my friend Ben Marsh and I have literally got on a plane. We've gone to Vegas. We've gone to Chicago. We've gone to Florida. We've gone everywhere we can think of that's with cheap flights and has great escape rooms, and there are quite a few. We haven't reached Canada yet. I think that's our next big one that we want to go to. I forget the name of the escape room up there that he texts me all the time. Let's go do this, and I'm like, all right, just tell me where to sign up. How much do I have to pay?
Yeah, Elmer, wasn't it Utah that you gave me a heart attack? That was the Utah trip, I think.
What happened in Utah? Oh yes,
when you were with it was Utah.
But I wasn't with them.
We were testing a game show, and they went, yeah.
God.
Beta testing a game show, and this man decides he's going to go overnight to Utah to do some escape rooms with some of our friends. And I'm like, we have to be on set at this time. And he is giving me a heart attack and anxiety poops and everything. It was terrible.
To be fair, I forgot that we were supposed to do that on the Wednesday that we were doing that. And my friends and I were like, we were sitting at dinner, or no, we were sitting at lunch, and I was going through a personal thing at that time. And I was like, you know what, guys? This day is not going to end until we get on a plane. I don't care where we go. Let's just get on a plane and go somewhere. And we were like, all right, let's look at the cheapest flights leaving out of LAX that day. The cheapest flights were flying to Salt Lake City, Utah. And I was like, all right, I guess we're going to Utah because why not? So we went to Utah. We did about 6 escape rooms there. It was the first time I ever got on a Lime scooter. And then luckily our return flight was the same day. I didn't even think of it. I honestly forgot that we were supposed to beta test.
Yeah. You see what happens when you have a planner and you have a spontaneous person? This is what happens.
I completely forgot. But I mean, to my benefit, it worked out. Like, we were at the airport flying back that Wednesday after doing all the escape rooms. And I was like, hey guys, I think it'd be really funny if we text Shane, and I edited the photos to make it look like we missed our flight and we weren't going to make it on set. And so we texted Shane, me and my 2 friends that we were with, we texted Shane and we were like, sorry, we missed our flight, enjoy beta testing without us. Hope it goes well. Good luck. Shane was so mad. So mad. I learned a lot about our friendship that day and about him and his boundaries as far as what it takes to do, to play a joke on him. And that was one of them. Because I crossed that.
The reason being because he made me poop. That's the boundary. I have no problem admitting it. He made me poop.
Shane's he's a worrywart. He's an anxiety ridden person. And when he legit thought that we missed our flight and we ended up beating him to the set and he was actually the one that was late.
Nice.
And why was that, Elmer? Why was that?
Talk to your bowels, sir.
Because I was on the toilet trying to recover from the anxiety, okay?
But the escape rooms were fun and I had a great time.
Yeah.
It was a great trip.
Yeah. So you had mentioned that Canada's coming up on the list.
I think so, yeah.
Would that be your first international escape room or
no.
Okay.
So I haven't traveled that far, like that much internationally, but I did go to Europe last year with a few friends, and I'm not going to go to Paris and Germany and London and not try to do an escape room. And of course I did one in almost every country that we visited. And they were some of the best rooms that I've done in a while. One of them was a Frankenstein themed room. And I can't remember the name of the company, but I'll have to look it up. And if you're ever in Germany, definitely go do this one. It was a Frankenstein themed room. We were blown away. It was just, there was lots of things that I don't think I had seen before, but still easily solvable with the 3 people that we went with. We loved it so much that we booked the next room. We had to wait a couple hours, kill time, whatever. The next room was more kind of like Magic Harry Potter themed. That one was a little bit more, it was fun. It was still fun. The set design was great, but it was a little bit more predictable. So you could tell that was their first room. And then the room that we had first done was their newest room because it was just spot on. The tech was great. Everything flowed. I was blown away by it.
Nice. So what would you say is like, what makes an escape room really like stand out to you? Obviously you've done a lot, you have a lot of experience with different kinds of puzzles, probably basic ones with keys and locks and other ones with high tech.
Honestly, to me it's just the people. I work in the restaurant industry, and so I'm dealing with people constantly, and when people come into my restaurant, I want to make sure that they feel like they're at home. It's kind of the same for me when I go to an escape room. I want to see the fruits of someone's labor. I want to see what's in their brain, what did they think? How did they logically get from one step to the next? So it's just, I want to know about the owners, and there's quite a few owners that I'm actually friends with. Whether they remember me, I don't know. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. That's cool too. I don't ever expect anyone to remember me, but when it does happen and I'm like, oh my God, I must have left a lasting impression, and they did to me as well. We just did an escape room 2 days ago for a friend's birthday, And I was like, oh, I know the owner. Let me text him and be like, hey, it's my friend's birthday, and they hooked it up. It was great. I loved it. I mean, I wasn't asking for anything, but I was just like, hey, it's my friend's birthday. I was kind of thinking maybe to bring like a birthday cake to surprise him. But he was like, oh, yeah, one of your friends can play for free. I was like, okay, even better. Like, that works too. Thank you. So
Elmer and I are very different, though. We're very different, though. Like, Elmer's all like the people. Like, I have no problem being like, that was complete shit. Like, I have very strong opinions, but for me though, it's because I like a room that has puzzles that make sense. So I don't like rooms. I usually don't like nonlinear rooms, typically, just because there's so much back and forth.
You have to have structure. We get it.
Yeah, I do. I don't like if there are puzzles that are just like so far fetched that I'm like, this is not even solvable in this time frame. It gets frustrating because it's like that's not what I wanted to do. Like that's not what I came here for. And I'm sure we'll get into it, but there is a group of escape rooms that Elmer and I will always agree on that we absolutely hated and did not expect to, which is what's so funny. But the entire group agreed that we all hated those rooms. So, and it's funny because they have like they won like world records and stuff. Or they won like world titles and stuff, right? Like they won massive awards, and we hated it.
Yeah. It's definitely universally loved by a lot of people, but yeah, it wasn't our cup of tea.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just our group. Maybe it was a bunch of things all together. Maybe we traveled too far and we were a little jet lagged and we tried to do too much in one day. It could have been us, but it was definitely the room as well. Like there were some puzzles that were just like that. You expect me to take this little tiny ass brush and it's this entire ass room. I'm not doing that.
It's so
I'm sorry.
true.
I'm not doing that.
It was a hallway of sand, and there was no clues to tell you where to start to dig.
Yeah.
So you had to go through and it's an entire hallway. Like these are massive, like almost like film set type rooms. So the set quality was incredible.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was the set design of this particular escape room, fantastic. Like 10 out of 10. I actually thought it was on the set of Goonies for a second. Goonies mixed with Pirates of the Caribbean at one point. There was a large ass like human sized hamster wheel that we were rolling on.
Yeah.
Like, it was phenomenally designed.
Yeah. But then it would get ruined because it would be like, okay, cool, you've got an hour and a half to do this. And then it was like, cool, take all these giant, an entire wall of foam cinder blocks off, put them back, then solve a code on like one of those like decoder puzzles, and then find yet again something else in the sand. I was like, listen, I'll say it. 13th Gate is the name of the company, and the sets are amazing.
You didn't like it either, did you, Rocky? I know.
The puzzles were not for us. Though there was two other rooms that Elmer knows which ones I'm talking about that they asked us when we left. They said, so did you have a good time? And we flat out were like, no. You remember that one, Elmer? He goes, so did you have fun? No.
And then they were like, okay, bye. We're like, guess you really didn't care what we thought.
No, yeah.
Once we said no, they were like, all right, there's no winning them back.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think like customer service in the escape room industry is something that I've been kind of talking with people about, where, with escape rooms, especially if they're a single room or maybe two rooms or whatever, once you've played those, it's unlikely that you're going to come back and play them again. So that retention long term until they build a new room or change the room or something like that, it's not like they're kind of throwing away customers all the time. They're having to constantly find new customers, and the marketing for that or the acquisition of those customers is really hard. But it feels like, people like you guys who play tons and tons of rooms, come in and interact with lots of different people. There needs to be something that keeps you involved or keeps you talking about those rooms. Do you find that people, besides saying, did you have fun or whatever, are trying to get you to either talk about them or like connect with them further, things like that? Like, how are they treating you afterwards besides that?
Sorry, I just saw my dog fall off the couch. You're okay, bud. So for me, it feels like once I build a rapport with someone, I'm always in the know. I know what's happening next, what else they're working on, if they're opening up another room. And then that gets me excited. And then I post, like, I'm in a couple of forums or Facebook groups where people talk about specifically these kinds of things. And once you're in that industry, in that group, you feel like you're part of a community. And I think that's what's great about it. I learned early on that my opinion matters, and I honestly didn't think it did. I was like, okay, this room sucked, whatever, blah, 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 and then maybe left a nasty review. That owner reached out to me, and I was like, you know what? That was a hasty judgment. So now, if I ever have a problem, I don't do what Shane does. Shane has no problem with posting and publicly reviewing a room. I don't want to have that power of ruining someone's escape room. Because it is a lot of weight and there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of power because this is something that someone actually put their time and money and devoted to. So I don't want to be responsible for it failing if it does fail. But if I didn't like something, I will for sure say, hey, my team actually didn't have a good time, in a personalized email. What they do with that information after that, great. But at least I, put in the first foot forward to say, hey, this is how I felt. This is how it made me feel. We may or may not come back. Hope, good luck. And 9 times out of 10, be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Here's a voucher to play our next room. Hopefully we knock you out of the, knock it out of the park the next time. So it's the community.
I think too, though, like one of the things I've noticed that's a big difference is there's definitely people that are like escape room people. And then there are people that do escape rooms that are clearly just trying to do it for a business, right? So, and it's very evident when you're encountering the two. So we've been to many rooms where you can see, like there's so much love put into the rooms and so much effort. And like there's really attempts to like be a great escape room location. But then you'll go to some other ones sometimes where it's like they didn't really care what your experience was. They just wanted the money. They just wanted you to do it. Yeah. And there's not really that connection after. And I think those are usually the ones where like I'm not hesitant to give more of a scathing review. Like I also am not just like this room sucks. I will explain what I didn't like.
And
like
that's
I will
fair.
say,
that's totally fair. I'll admit your reviews and your opinion are they're very constructive and they're very they're very true. But
we use the Morty app a lot. So anytime we do the escape rooms, I'm kind of they're always like, Shane, did you do a review yet? It always has to be me.
We literally made the joke. So the escaping that we just did on Sunday, Jeremy was like, oh, did you check us in on Morty? And I was like, I'm about to. I have to do this and that. And he was like, oh, well, Shane would have already written a review by now. And I was like, yeah, he would have. Fair.
Yeah.
So Morty is one of the things I was going to ask if you use, because tracking the number of rooms that you have, otherwise, it's probably impossible. It's a great resource.
He did it. Elmer did it. I do it.
Yeah.
So before Morty even existed, which kudos to Adam and the rest of the Morty team for coming up with that idea and just running with it. We were using a spreadsheet. I was using a Google spreadsheet. And having to like add new rooms, because this is what happened. So the very first time this happened, and this is why I started using it, was we did an escape room down the street here in Hollywood. And I was like, okay, great. They have a bunch of rooms. Let's keep an eye out on other rooms in that, that they open up or whatever. And so I Googled or looked at their business listing, or I went to their website, I think is what it was. And I saw another room with a different name. And I was like, oh, okay, this room, they have a new room called this. Let's book this one, and we'll go have fun, and we'll bring a couple people, because we really liked the set. We liked it. We had a great time. We walked in, and we're like, wait, didn't this room used to be called something else? And they were like, oh, yeah, it used to be called this, but we renamed it to this. And I was like, but it doesn't say that on your website. Like, shouldn't you have that listed somewhere so people know not to book it again if they've already done this room? Formerly known as something. They didn't have anything. So granted, they did let us, I was like, well, I don't want to like ruin the other people that we brought's experience. So we still played it out. And they let us come back and played another room. So it was fine, but it was just odd. It was like, so that after that, I was like, well, we need to keep track of all the rooms that we've done. And so for a while they would be listed alphabetically by company and then by the room name. And then we would have like a separate like sheet for out of town or out of the country escape rooms. And then all of a sudden the Morty app came out and I was like, At first I was reluctant. I was like, I'm, I hate change. And then having to, take all of my information, because I think at that point I probably had like 400 or 500 escape rooms under my belt. Having to mark all of those as done on Morty, it was a freaking task, because Morty didn't have all the ones that I had done 8 years ago, because they don't exist anymore. And so now my numbers match, and we're good. All is good, and I support Morty. Yay.
Yeah, I still use my note in my iPhone to keep track, but I definitely check in with Morty also. But again, that I think goes to kind of like that idea of customer service. Like Andy, the creator of Morty, he clearly is very passionate for what he does, and it shows. And he's been trying to figure out like different ways to get more people interested and more people excited. And you would start to see, you'd go to these escape rooms and you'd start seeing like, Book on Morty, and use a Morty coupon, book us on Morty.
Find us on Morty, yeah.
And like that's somebody you really want to root for. So part of the reason and doing the reviews is where I do them on Morty. I don't really do them anywhere else. I would do them on Morty, because that's for the escape room people. So big shout out to Morty. It's a great app.
Yeah. Do you find so the tracking piece of this, is that just purely like is it a helpful thing for you to not schedule the same room? Is it a badge of honor of be like, I got 750 plus? Like what's the desire to do that tracking piece for you?
For me, I wouldn't consider myself a gamer, but I guess other people would. I just like winning, and I like being the best. As Shane knows, I like being number one. I like being on top. So being someone who has, obviously I haven't done the most escape rooms in the world, but I would love to be there someday. It's definitely an attainable goal, which I didn't ever think it would be. But
you're definitely up there. You're in probably like the top 10.
I mean, maybe, but that's cool to even think about. That's cool that that my name is even up there. That's great. But for me, it's just all about a gaming aspect. Oh, how many badges can I collect? How many stickers can I get? Oh, I got a sticker for doing 100 escape rooms. Okay, great. It's kind of like when Snapchat used to have Snapchat trophies. I had to collect them all. They were like Pokemon. It's like, it's a game. So that's what it is for me.
Yeah. Do you, with 750 plus 760, does it become hard? Do they like, do a lot of the rooms like blur together? Like you're like, I feel like I've played this puzzle before. Or, how do you keep, besides sharing stories with each other and laughing about them, how do you sort of keep some of do you have like mementos from some of the rooms? I know some people sell swag and.
I didn't realize this was here until just now, but I did this in an escape room, or this came out of an escape room. I forget which escape room it was, but it was a little.
Is that Perfumer?
I think it was. I think you're right. Oh, God.
Perfumer.
Good memory. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
There's that. And then I just realized that now that I looked over, let me see if I can read it. I think this is when. So this was supposed to be my 550th escape room, but I, of course, booked like 4 or 5 more escape rooms before I went there. And so they had to change the number before they printed the certificate.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I have little things like that I've gotten. So those are kind of cute, and I keep every single one of them. I'm not necessarily a shirt collector, but I do have a few shirts from some escape rooms, so the merchandise is fun to have. But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. I was telling someone there's an escape room down here in Orange County near me.
He's done it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it's Intrepid Escape Rooms.
Oh, yes. I love all of their rooms.
Yeah, and they're building another one right now. Spoiler. But they 3 weeks ago. They do they do like little pins and stuff, which I feel like is kind of a cool collectible, because it's not like a t-shirt. Like I don't have so much room for t-shirts and stuff like that in my drawers, but like I feel like that's like a cool thing to throw in a bag or something, just to kind of like like a conversation piece, like, oh, what's that?
Right. Yeah. The only thing I wanted from their bus stop, I can't remember, because they you're right, they do all blur together. The subway one. Yeah. I was like, I really wanted that train to come at me. I wanted like the real life, like the terror of the train, but it was still done very well with the spaces they had. I still enjoyed it and support it. And yeah, they're great. I love Intrepid.
Yeah.
I would say though, speaking of Orange County though, that's where I think one of my favorite escape rooms is, isn't it? That's where Zoe is.
Yes.
Yes.
Have you done Zoe, Brandon?
No, I have not. I actually haven't played any escape rooms that have live actors in them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's like a next level for me.
Are we going to talk about favorite?
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say one of my favorite Go ahead. You got it.
No, okay. I would say, are we going to talk about favorite escape rooms or should we wait?
We can definitely get into it. Let's go.
Okay. So you start because Elmer, you had something you wanted to say about it.
I was going to say one of my most favorite memories from an escape room was when we got through this. It was so scary, and this was the version 2 of the room that we were doing. It was so scary, and so like we had started at the beginning in the creepy spot of this room. We got through room, and then we crawled through another space and got to another room, and then we get to the very end. By this point, I had lost my shoes. Someone else had lost their shoes. Like our shoes had gotten stolen by the scare actor. I was literally being dragged by the scare actor. And I'm like, and all of my friends are just frozen in fear. Like, well, Elmer's dead. And I was like, well, no one's trying to save me here. I was like, okay, fine. So my shoes got stolen, whatever. We get to the very end of this escape room. And the narrator, the game master, comes over and says, what you need to get out is at the very beginning or something like that, something to that effect. And I think someone has to go back and get it. It's by the door. And I think it should be Shane. And Shane was like, nope, I'm not going. And then someone else was like, I'll go. One of the other persons who lost their shoes was like, I'll go. It's fine. I'll volunteer. And then the game master came over and said, no, it has to be someone with shoes. And then Shane was like, without thinking, picked off his shoes. He is a germaphobe. He will not walk around barefoot. He literally probably has hand sanitizer in every bag you can think of. But the fact that this man kicked off his shoes with a quickness and was like, here, take my shoes. I'm like, what? I died. I fell on the floor laughing.
I have video of it too. But here's the funny thing about this. So we did Zoe I did Zoe part 1 with Elmer and Zoe part 2 with Elmer. And in Zoe part 1, what makes that room so scary is, one, it's already like it's an actual haunted location. So like that already alone has like levels of fear to it. But I've never done an escape room where you get tased, where there's a stun pen. And Elmer refused to not do the punishment mode or whatever it was. So we had
nope, absolutely not a choice. If we're doing it again, we're doing full blast, contact, whatever.
So we had to do it. And so in the first room, at the very end, they said one person has to do the challenge and it's gonna be Shane. And I was like, oh, fuck me. Okay. And I did it. I was terrified, but I did it. And I have video of this too, where I couldn't figure out how to get back. And this character basically had to kind of point me in the direction because I was, geographically challenged. So we finished that room and then we come back when they redo it and redo Zoe. And this one's longer and this one's more intense. And so, yeah, we get to the end and what they weren't paying attention. And I'm listening to every single word our narrator is saying, who actually is one of the main Zoes, is what's so funny. And so she's also one of the owners. And she goes, in honor of tradition. And I said to them, I was like, it's going to be me. I was like, I'm telling you, they're going to pick me. And then on the walkie, she goes, in honor of tradition, it should be Shane. And they don't even hear it. And I said, do you see that? They said it's going to be me. They're like, what? I was like, I'm not doing it. I will tap out. I'm not doing it. And like he said, they were like, well, somebody has to have shoes. I kicked them off so fast. I said, here, take my shoes.
Not you.
No, I wasn't. That was a much longer run. And I had already been stun penned. And I, saw the other stuff that had happened. That is like, I will say I love escape rooms. When you said like what makes an escape room good, I love escape rooms where I am immersed, where I forget that I am in an escape room. And I love horror movies. So this and Project Minotaur in Hollywood are the two rooms where I have felt like I forgot I was in a room and I am basically in a horror movie. And with somebody with anxiety, it wouldn't make sense that I like when I, get scared like that, but it makes me feel brave to kind of like accomplish that task.
You feel like you could be the final girl.
Absolutely. And that one I wasn't going to be. I was not going to be the final girl in that one. But that and Project Minotaur, which we should definitely touch on too, are two of the most incredible rooms I've ever been part of.
For sure.
I have not done either of those. And I mostly play with my family. And so like they are like anti any sort of scary rooms. Just again, that fear, that anticipation of, even if it's not, it's like the what's lurking in the dark feeling, but
Elmer, it doesn't make any sense because Elmer's the type, he gets terrified in any haunted house. Like, I mean, any haunted house. Like, to the point that I would walk behind him and I'd be like, boo, and he'd shriek. And it was like, I'm like, Elmer, like nothing's even happening. But you put him in you put him in a scary escape room and he is all go. Like we're both very much like what scares us, somehow we're drawn to. But I was like, I don't want to do this again. And Elmer's like, let's go again. I'm like, nope, one is fine. One is good.
I think we did I think it's Escape Room Era in Anaheim that had I think it was like the Hex Room or something like that.
Oh yeah, we did that one. We did that one for my birthday.
I tried so hard because my best friend worked there at the time that they went and did it. And I was trying to go because they only had 5 people at the time to do it. And I didn't know they booked a 6th person to go. My plan was to like sneak in and be the 6th player. Because we had it all planned out. I was going to sneak in the back door. They were going to go in with 5 people and I was going to be the 6th player and surprise them. Because when I was a little jaded, it was a great room. I did love it, but I'm the leader. I'm always the communicator. So everyone made me the detective in that room. And so
me too.
So I had to like, you have this, you have that. Okay, great. Give me this from this because that's what the detective does in that role. So basically, for people who don't know, the Hex Room, you're playing 6 horror movie tropes. And you have the prom queen, you have the jock, you have the rebel, and one person who's in the middle in their own. Everyone else is in their own room around the detective, trying to get out the room. And this person has something in that person's room that they need to get out, whatever. And so I was a little jaded when I first played it because I was the detective, and I was like, I want to be in the room and I want to be able to solve puzzles. My things were already done.
Yeah, I was the same way because when I went, they give you a survey ahead of time and they kind of have you like answer questions. And then one of the questions I think is, like, who is like a leader of your group? And I'm the same way. I'm a communicator. I'm often like a leader in a group. So I got put as the detective and it was my birthday. So I was really disappointed because I knew I didn't want detective. And so I was kind of upset the whole time in the room, but like, it was a cool concept, like for sure. Like from what I could see that they were doing, it was a cool concept, but as the detective and seeing the rooms and kind of know what the puzzles are, like it didn't incentivize me to go back because I'm like, well, it's kind of already ruined. I know what to expect at this point.
But they also have a room called the Hide, which if you haven't done that yet, is really good as well.
The Hide is the same company as Zoe. It's just it was in a different location.
Well,
and that one, like we did that one. And what's interesting with that one is it's almost like in like an office space, but you'd never know with the way they transformed it. And it was scary. Like I'm a pretty nice person usually, but I will push my friends out of the way.
So I think we mixed the companies up a little bit because Crossroads is the one that has the Hex.
Yes,
Hex room.
you're right.
But when you said Escape Room Era and you said Hex Room, I went right into talking about the Hex Room. But then I was like, oh wait, that's the wrong company. But yes, two different companies, but still not far from each other. So do both. You get a chance.
Isn't it Escapade Games? I think has Zoe and the Hide.
Yeah, but they, I think the owners of that are bought out. Era, or they're like a hybrid of something. But
but they were in 2 locations, and that's the company it was. Yeah.
So you touched on roles like that. Both of you talking about being more of the leader, communicator in your groups, but you play with so many different groups. It sounds like because whoever's available, whatever. What size groups do you typically play in, or do you feel like is the best to play an escape room in?
For me, it's no more than 4. No more than 4.
Unless it's a big room.
Well, but here's the thing. So I was gonna say I can do it. I can do a room with just 2 people. I kind of prefer 2 to 3 people. No more than 4, unless it's a special occasion, someone's birthday, or like it's a milestone and I want to invite someone, be like, oh, it's my 700th room. Let's all make it an event. And I have an escape cake and everything, kind of thing. So for me, 2 to 4.
2 to 4.
Yeah. I would say for me, the sweet spot is like definitely 4, but there are some rooms that are bigger. Like for instance, 13th Gate, we tried with like 8 people. And we couldn't do it. You know what I mean? So 4 would have been impossible. Right?
Well, here's the thing, though. I don't think it would have been. I think if we would have just had 4 people, I think it would have been a different story. That's why I was like,
oh my gosh,
who we were with, and maybe we just had too many cooks in the kitchen. Who knows?
I don't know, but I would say like 4 is a good number. just because a lot of times, like in these rooms, you don't want to just wait around while somebody's solving something, because you have to wait for like a puzzle to be solved, and then like people are just kind of standing behind you. Like, it's not fun when that happens. And so I would say my sweet spot is typically 4. But even though, like, when I did live in LA, there would sometimes be different people, but it was primarily the same group that would be like the regular going people for escape rooms. And then you might have somebody that's like, oh, I've never done one, I'll try one. But then you'd have like the core group that were like the diehard escape room people. And we're like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. So yeah, we had kind of a main core group, but then you would have like, there was varsity, and then there was what's the other one? There was varsity, and then there was like the rookies or alternates. JV, I don't do sports.
We know. I don't do good at sports where balls fly at my nose.
So Elmer, if you're often the impetus to go visit an escape room and you're trying to pull people in, are you trying to fill those kinds of roles? Like, I know that I need someone who's really good at, like, a lot of rooms have like math kind of puzzles or whatever. Is it just like, who am I going to have fun with?
Yep, that's pretty much what it is. It's who am I going to have fun with, and I usually have my go-to, like Shane said, I have my go-to people that, okay, if Corey, Shane, Jeremy, or Ben are not available, then it's like, okay, let me do it with work friends, or let me reach out to, as Shane put it, the JV team. Like, who's available? Who wants to go do a room? Because I'm pretty good at just puzzles in general, but then there are people who go into an escape room and are the dictators, and they're like, hey, look at that. You might want to focus on this, pay your attention to there, blah, blah, blah. And that's if you have a bigger group. But, when I do one, I don't think Shane and I have ever done a room just you and I, maybe once. I don't actually think we have.
I don't think we've done a 2-person room.
Right. But like when I go into a 2-person room with, Ben or Corey, then it's like we either, a lot of times there's 2 different energies. Corey, will let me do everything and anything. And I'm like, I have to realize, oh, I didn't do anything. I didn't let Corey do anything. Let me step back. He doesn't like it when people, if he has something, you have to let him solve it. Or he's like, hey, I was working on that. Whereas with Ben has to know what you did. If you did something without him, he has to know, and you have to walk him through every step. And I'm like, girl, we have 60 minutes to get out of this room. I want to know what I'll explain it after. I don't have to tell you now. Yeah. We learned early on doing those rooms that he has to know everything, and he wants to know, or he's going to feel left out. So there's definitely,
it is funny though,
energies.
We don't choose people based on like who can do what, but it just ends up working out that we usually have like that blend of people that do different things. Like, I am never the math person. I'm never the one that solves like the math stuff. And a lot of times Jeremy's like really good with the math puzzles. Our lock and key person is always Elmer. I'm often the person that I'm kind of the dictator role, where I'm like, this looks out of place. We need to do this. Hey, did you see this? Or, like, here's a piece that we need kind of stuff. So we all kind of have those roles, but it's not how we decide who does the rooms. It just ends up usually being that way. And I think maybe that's part of why our core group was the core group, because most of the time we succeed and get out of the rooms. It's very rare that we don't.
Yeah. We coined a term, funny that Shane says lock and key for me, because if we get to a point where we're just like stuck and we just can't figure it out and we don't know what the puzzle it is, everyone's like, well, just Elmer it. Just Elmer it. And I'm like, okay, I'll figure out the last 2. And then sure enough, boom,
Yeah. You talked about a puzzle a while ago with the broom and the sand and all that kind of stuff.
PTSD.
So, like, are those kinds of puzzles? So that, like, obviously there's different kinds of puzzles, but the ones that are essentially brute force kind of puzzles, like you have to really just, I can see where this is going, but I just have to do all the work to get there. There's an escape room up in LA called Stash House.
Love House.
Which is great.
I was indifferent to it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think one of the immersive things was when we were in it, a police car like drove by with a siren, which made it immediately feel really real.
Well, because you're like knocking on this person's door, and you're like, "Is this how it starts?" And then you realize, "Oh, this is how it starts." And then you're sitting when you open the door, not to spoil it for anyone, but like you open it, and you're like, "Oh, this is the room. Oh, we're there. We're in it." Like, yeah.
But there's one puzzle which I won't spoil it all, but there's one puzzle in there that is like it just takes you like, I'm just going to whip through this puzzle. And it's not like like I got to solve this. It's just like, I got to do the work, like I have to just go through the process of like doing this thing. And so is that the kind of puzzle that, kind of, it doesn't ruin the room, but it kind of like is like, oh, it's like a slog. We got to get through this thing, that makes them maybe a little less enjoyable.
It can, because
for sure.
it could be a little tedious. You're like, oh God, this again, or yeah, there's definitely puzzles that you walk in and you're just like, okay, I know what I have to do. I think so. Earlier you asked me, I think you were asking kind of a similar question, and I forgot to mention, or I lost my train of thought and went on a tangent. But I just did an escape room at gosh, what's the name of the company? They just opened up. I can't remember the name of it now, but my friend works there now, and we went and did one of their new rooms. And I walked in, saw this puzzle, and I solved it at about 70 seconds. It was like less than a minute and a half. And when afterwards, he was like, we've never seen anyone solve it that quickly before, because to me, it just made sense. I knew what I had to do. I walked in, I was like, okay, great. It was like a pattern puzzle kind of thing, like lights and patterns. And I saw it. I knew exactly what I needed to do. It didn't take me out of it because, granted, I've seen a version of that puzzle before. I just had a little bit of a little bit of an experience with that puzzle, so I knew what to do. But I didn't know what, I was going to be the fastest one to solve it. I wasn't trying.
There is definitely one type of puzzle though that anytime we would encounter it, like it instantly ruined the mood. And it would be when you have to get onto a computer and start reading files, or have like a book and you're just reading page after page after page. That easily for our group would just be like, we don't want to do this anymore. Like, no, I don't want to do it. Like there was one, I think it was 13th. It was 13th Gate. It was. See, this is an example again. And it was like the Mission Spy one. And you get to this rocket and there's like 6 panels, but in order to solve it, you're literally reading blueprints and manuals on a computer. It's like, this isn't fun at all. This is not a good time. And then, or, you have like your same company. It was with the sand. You have a book of like, what you need to do, but you're just reading the book to find out what you're looking to do. Like, and that really, I think, kind of ruins it, because I don't want to feel like I'm doing work in an escape room. I want to have fun.
Yes.
Like if I'm like, if I feel like I'm logging onto a computer, and I mean, some of them, honestly,
or having to do homework. Like,
yeah, it's honestly, I mean, some of them would take you at least 15, 20 minutes. And that's not even an exaggeration. Like, it takes so long.
Yeah.
Just to read it.
Yeah. Are there puzzles kinds of puzzles, I guess, that stand out to you as like, I really enjoy when I encounter a puzzle that's kind of like this? Like, sometimes there's like some sort of a cipher, like an exchange of letters and numbers or something like that. Or, maps. There's lots of different ways to do maps, things like that. Like, are there ones that stand out to you that are like, these kinds of puzzles always like tickle my brain in like in a good way?
I like a lot of physical puzzles now. I think in the beginning was more about, okay, it's an escape room. What is it when you're first learning about an escape room? You're like, oh, do you have to do like math? But like, I love math, so I was fine with that in the beginning. But then after a while, I'm like, oh, I want to do something physical. Oh, I have to jump off of that into this pile of balls. Like, that sounds fun and cool. I have to go down this slide. I have to like swing across something. Like, the more physical ones, I'm just like, okay, I get that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I definitely I mean, the physical I do love when there's like the surprise, like there's the slide, or like you'll have to climb down something like that. I think is really fun. But I do really like the ones where not necessarily solving a code, but I like where you'll see something in your wall, like, okay, like this is what this translates to, and this is how we do this, because those are ones I can usually solve pretty well. Like, we did one out here in Vegas, and it was a great company. It's called Monster Quest, and that's a great example of customer service. Like, I love the person who runs Monster Quest. All the rooms are fun. And we get to the room where you see symbols on the wall. And then at some point, somebody had like found like little, it was like tiles or something. And I was really like, oh, look at the dots. Look, this is where it goes. So like when you can kind of put those pieces together, I enjoy those. But I also enjoy anything shiny that lights up. So like, I really, I always like the ones that are like the pipes and you have to turn the handles to make sure it connects. But again, I'm like a cat with keys. I just like things that are sparkly and light up, and yeah.
So I think it was you who said that you really like the linear rooms, right?
Typically, yes.
So,
Yeah.
so in that case, kind of what you were just talking about with like finding some tiles or whatever, like you might have seen the thing on the wall and you're like, okay, I know that's coming up at some point, but you just haven't got to that point yet or something like that. Like that's kind of what you're talking about, right?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, like imagine if you would that there are like symbols on the wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's like 4 symbols for each thing, and like each one has like a dot next to it, like 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dot, 4 dot. And then in this room, you know, we found paddles that also had 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dot, 4 dot. And then we basically matched like, okay, which animal symbol is matching, you know, like the skeleton head up top. And I was the one that was able to solve that because I like puzzles that make sense. I like puzzles that, yes, I can't do things on the floor. It actually hurts my head. But I like things that are logical. And that's why I like linear rooms, because you solve it, you're done. You're not going to go back to it. Like you go to the next part.
It depends on how I like more free range or free roam. Like you just do not a free for all. I don't want it to be a complete free for all. I want it to have a point and I want it to have a story and a direction. So I kind of like a mix of both. The problem with linear rooms is if you do it with a bigger group of people, then you're all working on the same thing at the exact same time and no one really has time to shine. Whereas when it's a free, well, not like when, you know, it's free form or free floating or whatever you want, however you want to call it, you can go on this puzzle, I can go do that puzzle, we can meet in the next puzzle. Or there have been times when I've done like 3 puzzles and another person's still working on 1 and I'm like, do you need help? You got this? I'll be right there.
See, and I hate that. We did a room.
Oh yes, you're right. We did do the room in Palm Springs. And I felt so bad for you.
I hated it. We did a room in Palm Springs, and it was like one major room, and you basically had like each was like, it was basically trying to rescue animals that were like trapped by like these poachers, and each like crate of an animal had like something you had to solve, and so I unintentionally went to some of the harder ones, not knowing, because it wasn't ranked by what was easier, what was harder. And like I'm hearing them solving this and them solving this. And I'm like, what'd you do? What'd you do? I don't like when I don't get to see what happened. In a way, I'm kind of like Ben with that. Yeah. I like to understand, like, what did you find out? Like, what just happened? So I understand what we need to do.
Every time Shane would get like halfway done with the puzzle and he'd be like, I don't know what to do. And then I would come up and be like, oh, just that. And then I'd be like, you were basically there. You did all the work. I had to like hold his hand a little on that. I was like, you did great, Jay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like those moments, you know, I don't enjoy, like, because when somebody else is working on other parts of the room, I'm like, well, it would have been cool to see that too, but now it's done.
Yeah.
You know, so I do like linear rooms when there are puzzles that you can do as a group. And some rooms do that very well.
And that, like I said, is an example where it is very free. Like everything's free and open. You can do whatever puzzle you want. But it had a story and you all had the same goal to accomplish. So that was kind of why I was like, I didn't mind it, but yeah, I can see, I could tell Shane's frustration in that moment in that room. And I was like, you're halfway there. Just do that. And that perfect. You got it. You did it. Yay.
Yeah. I think I actually said at one point, I was like, is this it? Like, is this all? Yeah, because it was just one big room. I'm like, I hate when I like multiple rooms. To me, that's fun. Like, have you done Whatever Happened to the Garretts?
No, that was good. Yeah.
Have you done Whatever Happened to the Garretts, Brandon?
No, I haven't.
So that was an amazing room. It was linear, but not linear, and I think it's like 6 or 7 rooms in this entire like setup.
You're on this showing. Linear.
Why?
Linear.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but it's okay.
What do you say?
Linear.
Whatever. I'm from Baltimore with the D, but
oh my God.
But that room is a great example of where something may not be the most linear, or whatever you said, and
you're putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Linear.
You're cool with. You're eating hair, but
you're eating hair.
But yeah, that's a really good example of a room where even if you're going in order, the puzzles are big enough that people can work on them simultaneously, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
I think that collaboration, I mean, obviously you guys are great friends and it sounds like you have a good friend group that you like to go and have fun together and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like it's a shame when you get into a room and everyone goes off into their own corners, works on something silently, and is like, here's a key. You come back and like, there's no collaboration. There's no like, oh my God, like sharing of that happiness of that moment of like unlocking something or whatever. So I feel like do you guys feel the same way? Like that collaboration, is big.
Absolutely, because we chose to go do this thing together. We chose to experience it together. So even when I'm in a room where, like I said, I do it with Ben or Corey or even Shane or Jeremy. If I do something that they didn't see, I'm like, hey guys, I did this. This is I learned early on that okay, they're gonna want to know what I did and how I did it. Me, not so much. Like, yeah, I want to. It'll suck if I didn't get to do something really cool, but I'll just be like, it's fine. But yes, I agree. You need to have that same excitement. Involve each other, and because that's what makes it fun. If you're not having fun, then why do it?
Yeah.
He says that, but there are also many times where you're in a room with Elmer, and when he is solving something, he's so focused that he's just determined to solve it. And like I have had many moments where I'm like, "What happened? Oh, I solved it. What do you mean? What happened? What?" He's like, "Don't worry about it. We're just gonna go. I'll explain later." I'm like, "Okay." So like,
I'm gonna throw shade at your Uncle Shane. Shh, be quiet.
There are absolute moments where he does do that. Like in theory, Elmer likes to be a communicator, but in the moment, like where he's competing against himself, no.
But it also depends on timing. Like if we're like 20 minutes left and we still have half the room, I'm like, I'll explain later. Like it doesn't matter right now. Let's just go. Like that's when it changes. When the pressure's on and you only have minutes left and you're like, oh my God, are we actually going to fail this room? Do we need a hint? And we hate asking for hints. Like if I have to ask for a hint in an escape room, I've already feel like I've lost.
Yes.
So there's almost kind of no way to win me back at that point. Like I should be able to solve it. Like it's not because of me, because I want to be able to do it. Like I'm my own worst enemy, and I have to. I'm competing against myself. I want to know that
he'll go on the radio. He'll go on the radio and he'll be like, "Stop giving me hints." Like he'll flat out say, "Stop giving us hints."
Yeah.
Or when I do ask for a hint, I'm like, I guess begrudgingly, we're gonna need a hint. I shouldn't need one, but
that's exactly how he says it too.
I think the thing, kind of going back to the collaboration and sharing of things, I think like there was a room we played at some point. I don't even remember which one it was, but it required you to like two people to work together to solve like a physical, like it was just mostly like a physical distance. We had to like connect each other, whatever. But because it was in a separate room from where everyone else was, they completely missed out on like how we solved it. But we had been looking for the solution all together. They went back into the original room, and then my son and I like figured it out and did it without anybody else. And they're like, "Wait, how'd you do that?" And like it was just kind of like it's like one of those things where you see it unlock and it magically happens, and you're like, "Oh my God, we did it!" And I just felt disappointed in that moment that not everyone got to experience that same thing.
Yeah.
Yep. We've been there. So yeah, that's why whenever I feel like I think I know something, I'll try to be inclusive, but it's not there's no perfect rhyme or reason to do it.
Yeah. There's also so many moments like where you're so excited and you're so intense in the moment, like that somebody will solve something and they will say, "Hey, I found this," or "I did this," and nobody even pays attention. And then they go on to the next thing. Yeah. And then later in the room, we're like, "When did you find a key?" "Well, back there." "Why didn't you say anything?" "I did." Like that absolutely has happened.
Yeah. So you talked about, getting down to the wire at the end of an escape room, tensions start getting up. Everybody's in like full on game mode. Do you have a goal for yourself? Like how quickly do you want to solve an hour room? And ideally,
listen, if I paid for this room, I want to get it down to the wire as much as possible. I am not there to break records. Jalapeno! Sorry. 4 pounds of fury over there. Yeah. I'm not there to break records. Like, I don't want to be the fastest person to solve this escape room because I don't feel like I got my money's worth. Escape rooms it's quite an expensive habit. So I want to go in. I want to get the almost full hour experience, 90-minute experience, whatever it is. I want to enjoy it. But if it gets to the point where it's like 2 minutes left and I'm like, oh my God, we have like 10 puzzles left. This sucked. So then that pressure's on. My very first escape room was the basement in LA, and Silmar, I think, is where it is. And it was the first basement room, or chapter 1 or whatever they call it now. It's a 45-minute room, and I think we had 4 seconds, before we were going to get out. So much so that what's supposed to happen, I guess, is they come in rushing in after you solve it and they say, "Yay, congratulations," or you rush out, because it's a horror themed room. And you're supposed to like be running from this like masked person or whatever. And they didn't do that because they thought we were going to lose. And so I'm at the pin pad. I'm at the pin pad. You can tell I have dogs. I'm at the pin pad, ready to like lock it in the final puzzle. And I'm like, someone just give me a code. Like, what's the code? It's on the screen. What is it? And then someone said it. I typed it in, and sure enough, that timer stopped on 4 seconds.
Wow.
Ever since then, that was my very first escape room. I was hooked. That adrenaline of, I don't know. If I had failed that first room, it probably would have been a different story. I probably wouldn't have done 768 rooms, but that sold it.
I think that's awesome. Several people I've talked to already, like that's a very similar story that I hear, is like that last moment. And actually I had someone who said the first game I played, I actually didn't get out, but it's because I transposed 2 numbers in a keypad or something like very similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I think I actually typed it in wrong, but I think I have the answer. And they let him like type it in and it solved it and whatever. But at that moment, the sound of the beep or that, whatever that, final, exit sounds like or feels like that rush and that adrenaline of like, we did it, that seems like what either, you're all in on that feeling right there, or you're just like, yeah, okay. Like, or whatever. Like, I don't know. It is a great feeling, that last moment victory,
The feeling of accomplishment. You're like, we all work together and solve something.
Yeah.
We can survive a zombie apocalypse. Yay. We're not going to die when the world ends. Like, we can do this. Great. I have my people.
Yeah. Besides escape rooms, you talked about at the beginning of our call, and we are coming up to time. So if you guys have to go, let me know. But you talked about things that you do with your friends are escape rooms, game nights, things like that. Are you talking about like board games, D&D? Like, what are the other kinds of games?
Yeah. So I'll like, here, this is from last night's game night. I'll show you down. So this is just one pile of games that we've played. I think the other pile is probably like over there. But yeah, I have game nights at least twice a week, sometimes 3 or 4, depending on the day. But yeah, definitely board games. I love, if it's a smaller group, Settlers of Catan, Ticket to Ride. If it's a bigger group, then Code Names or, Blockbuster, which is a fun movie trivia game.
Mafia is one of the best.
I love Mafia, Exploding Kittens, like those kinds of games they're just fun. So that's what we do.
Nice.
He has a closet, and like every time we get a game out, it's honestly, is this going to be the Avalanche moment? Because they're all stacked, but it's like playing Jenga with the games.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you played, there's a game called Turing Machine, but it's essentially a puzzle, like decoding kind of a game. I think you guys might like it.
Heard of it, but I haven't played it. But yeah, I have heard of it.
Nice.
He'll have it next week.
Yeah. I was at Dice Tower West last year, and I met the creator of the game, which was very fun because we played it for the first time. We all loved it, and then suddenly we met the creator, which was insane.
Elmer, you have to tell the story at least about what you did for a very famous celebrity.
Nice.
So about 300 escape rooms in, I have a friend who works for, a party planning, event coordinating company, and they were asked to do a 30th escape room for a famous, well-known singer. And basically the set was, they wanted it to be like the set of the Titanic. So they recreated like the ballroom from the scene. Wow. They created like half the ship on this studio, like film studio soundstage. It was so massive. It was phenomenal. I was gonna say it's like I was on a movie set, but I kind of was. And so my friend reached out to me and was like, "Hey, we're doing this party for this person. Would you like to, we have an experience set up, maybe possibly an escape room. Is that something that you could design?" And I was like, "Well, I've done like 300. I don't know if I can actually design one." And I was like, "But is there a budget? Like, do we have props? Like, what's the thing here?" And they're like, "You can do whatever you want. No budget." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So we had a couple of set pieces that actually were in the movie The Titanic.
Wow.
And my friend and I, who designed it, went and did, we went shopping at some prop places, built some puzzles. But we had to dumb it down to like a 15-minute experience. So we weren't taking the people away from, the guests away from the party too much. And I'm thinking, okay, sure, this is great. I get to be a part of it. So I was there. I did it, designed this room. It was phenomenal for the amount of time that we had to like build for a room. And I was like, I can actually build an escape room. What? So I think every time, that's when people were like, you've done so many, why don't you build one now? I was like, after that experience, I don't think I can top it. Because we're at this party and I have the earpiece in, because I'm listening to the event coordinator, so and so's arriving now, meet her car, whatever. I'm like, okay, none of this pertains to me. And then all of a sudden I hear, we have VIP heading down to the escape room. And I said, excuse me, Homo said, what? I'm sorry. What do you mean VIP to the escape room? Like, I didn't think this person was actually going to do the room. I thought she was going to be busy with her party and her guests. And all of a sudden he comes down and he's like, so and so wants to do the escape room. And I was like, okay. But my part in this, so I was also the live actor in the room, was yelling at all the guests coming down the stairs. Oh my God, Jack needs your help. He's locked. So the how we designed the room was, if you've ever seen Titanic, Jack gets locked up for stealing the heart of the ocean or getting accused of stealing the heart of the ocean, and he's locked up in the police officers' quarters down below the deck. And so we based it around that. Jack's been accused of stealing the heart of the ocean. You have to find the key to free him before the ship sinks. Whatever. And so I'm yelling at all the guests coming down the stairs, and you got to come run down this long corridor of a hallway. My ex-husband, who was my husband at the time, had helped me design like real posters that were on display for the time the Titanic was out. So we had the real posters from like 1912 in the hallway, advertising the Titanic, like the real Titanic. So it was really cool. So that's the corridor that they were running down, and then they enter the room and they find Jack locked up. And I'm thinking, oh my God, she's going to come down. This person's going to come down with her like closest friends. So, whatever, I can deal with one celebrity. And then no, she comes down and I'm sitting here yelling at all of these actors trying to be a live actor in an escape room that I designed. So that was a cool experience. I don't think I could ever build another one after that.
That might ruin the ownership perspective for you.
A little bit.
Yeah. I think one of the things I like to get, because I'm trying to build this as a community where there's some collaboration from players to owners to designers, things like that. Are there anything you can think of that, you would give as sort of feedback to owners of like, this could improve your experience, or this could make more people come and see your room? Like, what kind of advice would you give to escape room owners or businesses that, could make their business run a little better?
For me, it's kind of probably staffing. Like if you staff people who love escape rooms as much as you do, great. Then I'm going to feel their enthusiasm the moment I walk in the door. The second that I speak to them on the phone and say, hey guys, just curious, do you have any promotions, blah, blah, blah. But if you just hire some, teenager who doesn't care about their job, then I may not have a good experience. And it has happened several times where, we've gone to this well-known escape room, my friend Ben and I, and we're left at the device of like a kid basically who doesn't care, who just has a summer job. And I'm like, you're our game master, like, but we're trying, like, we need a hint, and this, this isn't working. Oh, well, here's the answer. No, we didn't ask you for a hint. We just wanted like a little nudge, like know your audience, know your role, and enjoy what you do. And if you don't enjoy it, then your customers aren't going to enjoy it either.
Yeah.
I would add to that also, I think some of the best rooms that excite me are the ones that are original. I don't like the ones that are basically like bought themes that are brought to another location.
If I see another Egyptian-themed escape room, I'm going to kill myself. I hate hieroglyphs. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. I was like, because he hates hieroglyphs. But I think that's a big thing for me is some of the best ones I've done are the ones where you're not going to find them somewhere else. They're like one of Escapology. A lot of times they will have rooms that are in multiple locations.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't really care for Escapology too often. Me, myself being one usually, but it's because Elmer's had to ask them, be like, hey, we did this in this location. Is this the same room? And they would be like, oh, yeah, it is. But then you go to something like one of my all-time favorites is Atlantis at Van Nuys and Hypnotic. Never seen anything like that. The sets, the passion behind it, the puzzles, never seen anything like it. And it's because it's not like a bought room. It is an original concept. So,
and that was one of those, like, I followed their journey for the entire time until they opened, and we ended up being the very first customers.
Yeah.
So much so that he invited us back to do their second room when they opened for free. He just let us play for free. I was like, I didn't ask for that, but because we had so much passion for playing escape rooms, and I was like, I think I was probably hounding them every time just to see when they were opening. Are you guys done building your escape room yet? Like, I'm excited that this is opening up downtown, not downtown, but down the street from my house. I don't have that luxury anymore. Like, you have to go to Utah or Chicago or Florida to play rooms that I haven't done. So when a new one opens up, I get excited. And we ended up being the first ones to play this one. And you're right. It was that room. I was well worth the wait. We enjoyed it, and we even enjoyed their second room too.
Yeah, it's in my top 3 for sure. But like, that's where there's a big difference. If you're getting into the business of escape rooms to make money and that's your only focus, you're not in it for the right reason, because escape rooms that are the strongest ones are the ones that have passion and love built into them. And no matter what the theme is, be original, be exciting. It doesn't have to be a massive budget always to be a great room. We've done many rooms that aren't super high production, but they're done very well because you can tell somebody took time when they were building it.
Because they cared.
And then we've done rooms that were massive productions, and we're like, well, that was
you're just a scare company, and then you bought out escape rooms, and that's not, they don't always mesh.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned something there that was interesting. So with that room, you said you followed it along as they were building it up. Where do you find escape rooms that are sort of in progress, or where do you follow escape rooms? I think you said there was a Facebook group or something that you're part of.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I find that most escape rooms don't do social media because they don't want to give away too much information.
So the way I had to get a little savvy with it, because it did get to the point where I had done every escape room in LA. And so I would constantly, daily, I think daily probably is more accurately, is Google escape rooms on just Apple Maps, or Google it, or just search it on Apple Maps and see what listings. So this was all before Morty, and see what listings pop up, what new businesses get registered and are now, have a listing on Apple Maps or Google Maps, or and they're not they necessarily aren't following, like, posting anything on social media, but I can tell, oh, such and such escape just registered as a new business, so I'm gonna like call them. Oh, are you guys open? They're like, no, we're not open for like another month, or we just registered our business name, whatever. And I'm like, okay, great. Do you beta test? Like, are you looking for beta testers? Do you have an email newsletter that I can join? And 9 times out of 10, that's how I find all the new rooms that I've found. And people will be like, oh my God, Elmer, this new room opened up. And I was like, oh, I did it like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that would be me. Every time I get excited, I'm like, oh my God, Elmer, this room. He's like, yeah, no, we did it 3 weeks ago. I'm like, oh, okay, well, never mind.
So do you, if, let's say I don't know if I asked this already, but if you've played a room, but let's say Shane wasn't in the group because he was busy that day, whatever, like, would you then go back and play that room if Shane was excited about that thing? Or you
no, he wouldn't let me.
Yeah. I won't let him. I will not let him, because I asked him, I'm like, have you done this room? And he'll say no. And then I can tell when he's done a room, because he'll kind of like just kind of follow behind you, and
because I won't do anything.
Yeah.
But he does though, because he'll go like towards a puzzle and he'll just like start playing with something on the wall, and then he'll kind of like walk away. I'm like, you've done this, you bitch. I'm like, you lied to me. You've done this room. So yeah, if it's a room I really want to do, like, there hasn't really been any, I would say, that I'm like, oh my God, I have to do this one, Elmer. Like, you have to come do it with me, just because I don't want someone that's done it already. One, you have to pay to do it, which isn't fair to him. But it's just not as fun because he already knows what to do. Yeah. Like, as much as I love Atlantis, if my friends were like, oh my God, let's go do it, I would be like, no. Like, I love that room. You know what I mean? I love Minotaur, but I've already done it. Yeah. So unless it's like significantly changed, like how Zoe was,
And Project Minotaur has said that they have changed a lot of puzzles. So
yes, but they also terrified me, so I was good with just one. But
and it was $100.
Yeah, it was 100. Yeah, he didn't tell me that till he showed up.
We were like $100. I was like, trust me, it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah, and then we finished. I was like, okay, that was worth it. But yeah, like I won't let him. I will not like if I know he's done it, and I'll be like, Elmer, swear that you haven't done this room. Like I will flat out make him do it because I don't. It's not fun.
Yeah,
not for him really, and not for me too.
I mean, and if I've ever done that, it's only because I know there's a cool feature about the room that I really want to see his reaction in.
Yeah.
So that's usually why I do it. Or I just don't want to miss out on hanging out with my friends. Duh.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I would say
you're welcome.
I think Red Giant was that example because I love Legends of the Hidden Temple. And so because I'm the biggest 90s Nickelodeon nerd, like I don't know if you can see like my Shrinelodeon of all my Nickelodeon stuff. My car is covered in slime, like it's ridiculous. But there was like a Legends of the Hidden Temple-esque type room. And I was like, oh my God, it's Red Giant. He's like, yeah, I've done it. I'm like, oh my God. But he wanted to join for my birthday and I wanted in there. And so there is a cool ending, which I won't spoil because it is a popular room. But that's kind of one of those moments where I'm like, okay, like this is fine. But I'll tell him, I'm like, you can't do anything. I'm like, you can't solve anything. You're not allowed.
I've been holding on to a secret.
Oh,
what is the secret?
What's the other room that you were excited about that was kind of like Legend of the Hidden Temple?
Oh, did you do that one too? I hate you. I hate you so much.
And then when I posted both pictures, I had to swap the dates so you wouldn't get mad.
Yeah, I think you told me something about that like after or whatever.
But I did that room the week before.
At least I couldn't tell with that one. Like Elmer is an actor, but sometimes you can tell. Like it's very clear sometimes. That one I don't remember picking up anything, but literally there are rooms where he'll be like,
Brandon, you got the exclusive. No, but do you remember the sand puzzle? When Miles was doing the sand puzzle in that room and everyone kept trying to do it one way and I was like, no, you have to do it like this. That was the only time I let it slip. And then I was like, oh, I'll let them figure it out. Like it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So moral of the story is if it's a Legends of the Hidden Temple theme room, apparently Elmer's done it.
Yeah.
It was cool.
No, it was a great room.
Yeah. What do you think are some ideas around how escape rooms can get people to come back? Maybe it's not the same room, like obviously changing their rooms up and making significant changes. Like that's a big commitment to do something like that. Do you guys have any ideas about other ways that could get you to come back to a room, maybe with less modification or different story changes? Like, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think story-based escape rooms, you can always change the story, so it's easy to change the puzzle. I just recently did another escape room where I was like, that looks like it could be something. Is it not something? And then the game master was like, yeah, we're thinking about adding this and maybe tweaking that a little bit. So if you change about 20, you don't have to change the whole room, but just change a few puzzles and make it enough difference to where, okay, great, I'll pay, I'll come back if you give me a 50% discount since I've already done half the room. Like offer a promotion. Like if you do change a specific room, offer a promotion that says, hey, come do version 2 or whatever, or, let us know if you've done version 1, we'll change the room around and swap, have puzzles that are interchangeable so that if someone has already done the one version of the room, you can just swap it and make it a different version.
Or also offer like different ways to play the rooms. Like, and I mean, again, we talk about Zoe a lot, but they have Saboteur mode where if you've done the room, you basically can be part of it and pretty much, fuck with the group.
Yep.
Yeah. But it doesn't have to be a scary theme room for that kind of thing to happen. So, I mean, I think there is rooms to kind of get people involved and, get them excited. But I think I'm with Elmer. It's like, if I came back to do a room that I've already kind of done, I certainly don't want to pay full price to do it. But like, if you tell me that some of it's changed enough, I'd be open to it. But we've done rooms where they've changed it. And then there are remaining set pieces or puzzles that aren't even puzzles. And they're like, oh yeah, that was just in there. I'm like, you have what is clearly a puzzle in here that I'm spending 10 minutes on. That's not even supposed to be in here.
And I just wasted 10 minutes doing nothing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Awakening. But if you want to do something like that, make sure you know what the room is, what puzzles that are happening. So if you are switching storylines or something, that you're not just leaving parts behind unintentionally.
I had a similar experience to what you just described. I was doing an escape room out in Arizona, and they have this room that's a Aztec temple kind of a situation.
Yeah, every state does.
Yeah. And the interesting thing I hadn't seen in other escape rooms, but this one had two ways that you could play the game. One as the explorer and one as the Aztecs. And it almost like self-reset. So like if you were playing as the explorer, you would kind of uncover things, but as the Aztecs, you were kind of hiding things also.
Oh, that sounds fun.
I thought it was interesting, but there was clearly a puzzle on one of the walls, and it was some sort of a symbol matching kind of a thing. And I was like, I must have spent 10 to 15 minutes like trying to find those symbols, and like it never ended up coming up in the whole entire playthrough. And at the end, I kind of went up to it and I was like, what is that thing? Because it's clearly something, but it's not relevant to what we were doing. At which point he described to me how the room can be played and back and forth and all that kind of stuff. And I felt like that was an awesome mechanic, but also like I felt kind of mad because I spent so much time looking at it when I should have been trying to figure out something else,
Yeah. Yep.
But I think the concept of being able to play it in multiple ways, like you said with Zoe and some other things, like I think that might be a good way to, get people to come back. Yeah. Like I feel like that is an evolution that the industry needs to make, is how do you get, people to come back to your business? Because once you've done all the rooms, you've lost that customer ultimately, unless you build a brand new room, which again is a big investment and stuff.
I would say though, you necessarily don't lose the customer, because when you do a room really well, that word of mouth travels far. And every time somebody talks about escape rooms, I will mention my top three: Atlantis, Zoe, and Project Minotaur. Like I will tell everybody that these rooms are incredible. These rooms are amazing. And I think that, really goes a long way. Like we did a room here in Vegas that's not here anymore, where it was in adjoining coffins. I had never in my life fathomed that could even be possible. But here we are in adjoining coffins, closed in, solving puzzles that you can't get out unless you both agree to do it or you solve it. And it was like, this is incredible. Like, who would I not tell about this? You know what I mean? How would I not, shout to the rooftops what this is?
And it's so sad that that's not there anymore. But yeah, it was called Claustrophobia. It was really...
Yeah. I mean, that company has some great rooms, but they got rid of definitely, I think, a standout, but it was just in the middle of the lobby. Like they didn't have a space in the middle of the lobby.
Part of me thinks they could have just like moved it. Like it was so small. It's basically just two coffins. Just move it somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah.
I hopefully they bring it back. But yeah, they built an entire other. It was the space in the middle of that lobby was so big enough that they built another entire escape room in it. So fine, sure, great use of space, but just move the coffins in another corner of. I don't know. I feel like they could still do something with that. But it was great. It was fun.
Yeah. But also, I think too, like at this point too, you should have a bit of a social media presence. For example, once again, Zoe posts videos about people going through the experience on TikTok and has accumulated millions of views. They've been featured on the news because of this content. And there's ways that, that you can, without giving spoilers, represent your brand and get people excited. Because a lot of people that don't do escape rooms, one, have never done them or don't even know that they're there. The diehard escape room mavens like, me and Elmer in our group, we seek them out. But for people that maybe haven't done it before, what's going to get noticed? Well, what works? Social media does. So, have a bit of a presence.
And then, because, like there's a room here called at Lab Rat. They had a new room called The Ladder that had been in production for like years. And, they had a story and people could follow them on, in their journey. I mean, it took years, like literally years. But, it was. We didn't get to play the full experience, I think. So
no, we did like the first pilot test, the first beta testing.
Yeah. So we'll definitely have to go back to that at some point, and we have a promo code to do that. So
yeah, from like 3 years ago.
Hopefully it still works.
Yeah,
there was one I saw an escape room recently that had a social media presence because they were building a new room, I had actually went in and talked to them. They're off the 55 in Orange. But they're building a room that was basically like you're a cat essentially. So giant cat toys.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Which is super neat, but they did a lot of, as you're building the room, kind of like recording it and just like seeing kind of how those big props come together. There's like one of those big cat toys you can like bat around and it's human size, which is kind of fun. But I feel like there's ways, like you said, to use social media without giving away too many hints, like just getting the feeling of the room,
it makes it more tangible.
Yeah. And it gives you a way to connect with the idea, the theme or whatever, but, not spoiling, the actual puzzles themselves. But I just don't see a lot of social media from them, unfortunately. I find a lot on LinkedIn, which is weird to me because it's more of a businessy thing. And I know a lot of escape rooms do have, corporate event kind of things or whatever. But yeah, I would love to, experience. I don't go as far and wide as you guys do on escape rooms. So I would love to be able to see some of those experiences, or at least like some of the set pieces and everything too. Because I can't get there physically. I think that would be a good way to build anticipation or like future travel plans, things like that.
Well, it's kind of like if you remember I remember growing up watching the Discovery Channel and they would show like the best theme park rides. And I'd always be like, oh my God, one day I want to do this. And I remember wanting to ride the X or X2 at Magic Mountain for years. And I'd watch it and I would be amazed watching this on the Discovery Channel, and then finally got to ride it, So it's kind of like, something like that. There are ways, I think, to get people excited, but it is tough because it's such a unique thing. A lot of people don't want to be trapped inside. I like to tell people I'm a literal homosexual. I like to stay at home, So
What?
I know. So me being in a room where I'm not outside in the sunshine or hiking or anything, I love it, but not everybody is like that. So it is interesting, but I think it's definitely a word of mouth type of business. It has to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think that's why I'm kind of doing what I'm doing with Escape Room Daily, is to really share the stories, get people excited about it. Cause I talk to people all the time who have never played an escape room. And I can't understand how that's possible at this point with the growth of the industry and all that stuff. So I want to share same thing. I want to share the fun and, the excitement of all these different experiences and give people more fun, because we all need more fun in our lives.
Ain't that the truth?
It's pretty much a prerequisite at this point to be Elmer's friend, is you have to be into escape rooms. If you haven't done one, you have to be willing to.
Yeah.
I literally have friends where I'm like, hey, do you want to go do an escape room? And one of my closest friends is like, what city are we going to? Because he knows we're probably gonna have to drive at least an hour to get there at this point.
Yeah.
But it helps to have friends that like to drive, and then me and Elmer get to be passenger princesses, so it works out great.
And then
love you, Jeremy.
We'll bring back road trips too, because that's fun.
It is fun. I mean, before I moved to Vegas, we would do like a trip to Vegas and do escape rooms, and everybody here, it's so funny. They're going to shows. They're like, "Oh, you're going to go to the casino? Are you going to go see this show?" And we're like, "No,
we're going to do an escape room.
We're going to do like 10 escape rooms." Like, no.
And we have done that. We've literally gone to Vegas just to do 10 escape rooms and then come back.
Yep,
that's amazing. Well, I really appreciate your guys' time. I don't want to keep taking up anymore, but the insights that you have, the experiences you've shared, I really do appreciate. And I'm gonna get this posted on the site so that everybody else can learn from you guys and hopefully not take your top 10 spot for most escape rooms, but get out there and at least try one. That's the goal, is get people out to play.
Absolutely.
Good.